JL, my daughter, age 20, just finished her book and had a question I couldn't answer. In the chapter, My Path for My Kid, you mentioned waiting until fully FI in your 30s before having children or buying a house instead of while on the path to FI. Do I really have to wait until then? Would you discuss the reasoning behind that statement?
So, first of all, nobody has to do anything. This is just my recommendation. Let's be clear about it. And I believe in doing things from positions of strength. So too often, from what I observe, people have children from a position of weakness. They're not quite ready financially to have children. Now, frequently that works out, but there's a lot more risk in doing things from weakness. Frequently, people buy houses from a position of weakness. They're stretching in order to afford the down payment and the mortgage payments. Now, frequently that works out, but you give yourself additional risk. So what I'm really saying in that comment, waiting till you're FI or very close to it, or at least well on the path, puts you in a position of strength, whether you're choosing to have children or buy a house or a car or take a trip or anything else, or quit your job to pursue other opportunities. The whole idea behind pursuing financial independence, it seems to me, is to increase your freedom, and each step you take is a step closer, makes you that much stronger and allows you to make decisions from a position of strength. And I think that when you do that, things have you have take on much less risk. If you make major life decisions from a position of weakness, you leave yourself open to potentially bad outcomes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes. I think that makes incredibly great sense, to negotiate and give yourself options and opportunities. And I'm going to piggyback on that question real quick. I was flabbergasted and riveted when you said you bought a house. I don't know. Could you please tell our viewers why I was so surprised?
Well, I'm not sure, Jen, I can read your mind. I am aware that I have a reputation of being anti-house, and it comes from a post I did a few years back called "Why Your House is a Terrible Investment." Go figure, how could that give anybody the idea I was anti-house?
I almost sold my house because of that post.
Well, I don't know whether you should sell your house or not. That would take a deeper dive into your situation. But I'm not anti-house, and to be clear, most of my adult life I've owned houses and lived in them. What I'm opposed to is the propaganda that's put out by the real estate industry and the mortgage industry, and there are a lot of industries that are satellites of those that make enormous amounts of money when you buy a house. So the propaganda is that it is always a good investment, it is a smart financial move. And it's not. Just isn't. Sometimes people get lucky and they buy in a rising market. Sometimes they get unlucky and they buy in Detroit a decade or two ago and get crushed. A house is a lifestyle choice. And if you can easily afford it, again, going back to our early conversation, if you can buy your house from a position of strength, which is how I bought all the houses I've ever bought, and it suits the lifestyle that you want and you can easily afford it, then by all means, buy a house. I recommend buying not the most house you can afford, but the least house that meets your needs. And that's candidly what I've already done. And to be perfectly clear, at the moment, I don't own a house. I don't have a permanent residence. I do own a cottage on the beach, which is where I'm broadcasting from. And it's sometimes I'm in residence here, sometimes it's VRBO'd. A lot of times in the winter, because it's on the shores of Lake Michigan, it's closed up entirely. But it's not a permanent residence. Our permanent residence is nomadic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. But I had to just tease you a little bit about that one because of the house question.
That's fine. But it's an important point of clarification. I mean,
Yes.
when my daughter was in school, we owned a house because that was the lifestyle we wanted while she was in school, and we specifically bought it in a certain school district for obvious reasons. And when she went off to college, I couldn't wait to get rid of it.